how do we shrink the hobby? Serious question, guys. How do we shrink the hobby? Now I'm going to get into this in a moment. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, like, comment, all that stuff. Look, there's one thing I'm going to tell you. I am brutally honest, and I come at things from angles that most people never come at. And this is one that I just don't. It's so clear to me. It's like so obvious to me, and yet why is no one else saying this? In fact, here's a great example. Anytime you hear somebody talking about how they can grow the hobby, get more people involved, pass it on to the next generation, I don't mean this in the wrong way, but all that is saying is, how do I make more money? That's what it translates into. You find somebody who says that and doesn't mean that, and I love to talk to them. But basically, what you're saying when you say, let's grow the hobby is we need more sheep. The current sheep don't have enough fur on them, and we need new sheep to shear, right? The current sheep either been sheared to death or they're smart. They don't come close. And I don't want to be negative, guys, but look, here's the other part of the deal. It's a hobby, right? And what hobbies are about is a collectability. So here's the kind of the Vulcan in me. Logically, if you want to collect something, you don't want to compete against people for it. You want to have just a nice equilibrium of collectability, like people want it, it's in demand, but it's not too in demand, right? So you can't get it. Like think about you don't. I'm trying to give good examples. If you're a stamp collector, you've been collecting stamps. You get the stamps every month, right? You get the whatever set's coming out. If some new stamp comes out and everybody's running a stamp to get it, that doesn't make stamps better for you as a collector. Now you got all the people coming in just grabbing stamps because some cool stamp for the month. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense in any way? So let's look at it like this. Look, most of the problems in the hobby, and I mean this, think about this. Most of the problems in the hobby would go away if we shrink the hobby. I'm not kidding. Think about this. If we had less graders, if we had less breakers, if we had less competition to get the card, less flippers, right? All that would make the hobby a better place. If the print runs were smaller, whew, if there were less products, oh my goodness, it's like I can't understand this. Like, why aren't there more people saying, you know what we need to do to preserve the hobby and make the hobby grow? We need to shrink it. Now I know you're saying, Ziggy, well, hobby doesn't grow if you don't shrink it. I didn't say to kill it. I didn't say we don't feed it and water it and take care of it, right? You find stewards to the hobby, people that you want to pass it on to. Not every kid, dude, is going to want to collect sports cards. I'm not kidding. Unless two things happen. You make every card worth so much money that they then see it as a value prop, or you give it away and it's then worthless to the kid. I don't know. Again, the hobbies flourished for over 100 years. It wasn't because, people were growing the hobby or some big growth phase. In fact, if you look at the hobby, the big growth phases in the hobby often met with massive contraction. It actually, I think, hurt the hobby in these growth phases. The hobby got too big. It grew out of control. Marketing, advertising, greed, right, led to some change that drove people away and the hobby shrinks and contracts. And I think that's a good thing, right? So I think right now where we are at 2022, and with fanatics, right, hoping to milk out, what is it, $27 billion in 1 year by 2027, I think it is. And again, you can check those numbers. It was about a year ago. Shrinkage might be better. Shrinkage might kick out monopolies, right? Might drive more competition in the market. I can't think of anything that gets worse if we shrink the hobby. Can you? I love your thoughts, comments, feedback, anything, Tell me what you think, guys.